is truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan live from New York City. It is 1:20 p.m. in the afternoon. It's been a while. Since we were live here. I hope everybody is doing very well. I think I was on the road for a week actually. So happy to be back. I will full disclosure tell you that I woke up at 4 a.m. to make a flight, so I'm a little tired. Not positive if I'm going to be going live later, so I wanted to go live earlier to make sure that we were live today. But if I get enough coffee in me and get enough work done, I will be live a little bit later as well, so you'll get a double live stream. Very difficult to be live and do investigative reporting in the field. For the 280 people watching right now, make sure you press the like button right under the thumbs up. And somebody's already mentioned my grizzly beard. I will be trimming it, but I barely had time to pee out on the road. Jen and I were just out on the road. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But every single one of you, right this minute, I need you all to press that like button right under the video, thumbs up button. The more people that press thumbs up, the more people that will see the live stream. Unfortunately, YouTube is throttling this channel and others more than ever before. So it's up to you, folks. Just press that like button, even if you don't like me. Become a member. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Follow us at Status Coup. Subscribe to our podcast and join our email list. Go to statuscoup.com and enter your email there. So, I am sorry to tell you, I can't really say much about where we were or what we were working on, but trust me, it takes a lot to not go live for an entire week or to not do anything for an entire week. So you know that the story we were working on is really, really big. And because it's really, really big, to be honest with you, I don't want to even give any hints what it is, because frankly, I'm just going to be honest, this story does involve some really, really, really powerful people and some really, really shady people. And you don't really want to give those people a wonderful heads up that you're knocking on their door soon. All I can tell you is what Jen and I have uncovered. It's just mind-boggling. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but we've uncovered something really big. I don't want you to think that we've been slacking or like, why wasn't Status Coup live on debate night and things like that. When you're working on a major story, you really are at the mercy of when the sources helping you break that story are available. And a source I was trying to get a conversation with literally was available like right at the beginning of the debate. The other night. So I didn't even get to finish the debate until today. I didn't watch it live. So, you see everybody on Twitter and everybody's going crazy and everybody's having a good time. Don't want you to think we were slacking, but we were really, really actively working on a major story. That major story Right now, we're waiting to hear back from an outlet that we spoke to already about that story. They have some interest. If they're not going to do it, we're probably just going to self-publish it. But let's just say when this story breaks, I think for those of you that are already Status Quo members, you're going to be damn proud. And we could only have done and been out in the field for as long as we were. It was not cheap. Jen and I probably spoke with, over the last week, at least 25 people, sources, and went through a lot of documents and drove probably, give or take, 500 miles in a week. So just tell us that you intend not to commit suicide for the record. That is a very, very good request. I, Jordan Chariton, on October 17th at almost 1:30 in the afternoon. I am not depressed. I'm a little tired because I woke up at 4 a.m. for a flight. I'm not depressed. I'm of right mind. I am of sound mind. I am not thinking of hurting myself or anyone else. And if something does happen, I didn't do it to myself. That is the truth. And that speaks for Jen too. So it's a little frustrating because I want you guys to know and be proud and be excited. But with these kinds of stories, you gotta be careful. So we're going to start working on writing the story. Let's just say some really, really gross people are going to be held accountable finally. So I'll leave it at that. So the debate. And by the way, thank you. We got a lot of donations to fund the trip we were just on. I think we got, I don't have the number. Jen's probably sleeping right now because we both woke up early. But I think we got like $1,500 in donations just for the reporting trip that we just did. So thank you, because we needed every one of it. We expected to stay for 3-4 days, ended up there a week. So thank you. The debate. And thank you for the super chat. This is a super chat, and we are still pushing that GoFundMe. We are currently $550 away from $78,000. And once we hit $78,000, then we are just $7,000 from the ultimate goal. So keep it coming in the GoFundMe. The debate. I just finished watching the whole thing because, again, I was in the field. I have some serious takeaways. First of all, Bernie Sanders mentioned it kind of briefly, but at some point, we're going to have to start talking about serious media regulation in this country. Because CNN, I mean, we already know this, is not a media outlet. CNN serves at the pleasure of the establishment. So does MSNBC. And it is mind-boggling. Yes, by the polls, Elizabeth Warren has now come out as a front-runner by the polls. And a lot of those polls are fishy, as we report on here all the time. But for Elizabeth Warren to get, I think she got 13 or so minutes, and Bernie Sanders, who's in the top 3, got like 6.5, I believe. I mean, and you want to argue that you haven't been propping up Elizabeth Warren for months? I mean, almost every time, yes, she did get a lot of attacks, but they even gave her a chance to respond, even when she wasn't even mentioned by other candidates. Meanwhile, I clocked it at a good 40 minutes, Bernie Sanders did not speak at all. And you could tell when CNN is trying to elevate some, trying to give life support to some, and remember, smash that like button. We got 502 people watching right now, but only of that 502, only 251 of you have pressed the like button. So we need another 250 people to smash the like button right under the video. It's the thumbs up button. Press that like button. The more people that like, the more people that will see. Keep it going in the super chat. And here's the GoFundMe link because Jen's asleep. So I'll drop it in. We appreciate any amount. Helps us get back in the field. And we are also working on membership too. statusquo.com/join. Excuse me for 1 second. We are now at, we're now at 715 Status Quo members. We want to get that to 1,000 by the end of the year. This story that we were just out in the field for a week, I think this story is going to make you really proud to be a member, and I hope once we break this story, for those of you on the fence, we'll sign on the bottom line, statuscoup.com/join for as low as $5 to $10 a month. So CNN is a disgrace. Frankly, I'm not going to lead the protests, but I think there needs to be protests outside CNN and MSNBC. You give Elizabeth Warren 13 and a half minutes. You clearly were trying to elevate the likes of Amy Klobuchar. You're trying to elevate the likes of Cory Booker and basically, resuscitate these dying campaigns. Meanwhile, you cut off Tulsi Gabbard very clearly before she could have another Tulsi Slayer moment like she did to Kamala Harris in that, was it the second debate? Towards Elizabeth Warren. Tulsi Gabbard teed up a question for Elizabeth Warren, what would you do on foreign policy? And Elizabeth Warren gives a lot of talking points that Barack Obama gave as a candidate. We need to get out of the Middle East. We need to do this. We need to do that. And nothing happened. Before Tulsi Gabbard could have a chance to respond and have a moment to be like, you have a plan for everything, but not this. You seem to basically be reciting talking points of every Democratic candidate, but there's never any follow-through. CNN cut her off. So, obviously, you can't call it a debate if it's rigged in the first place, and the debate was rigged. And I think, I'm not just saying this as a Bernie Sanders supporter, I'm just saying this as somebody who's watched Bernie. I think Bernie finally came breathing fire. And he, I think, put all questions about his health to bed, frankly. I mean, obviously, we'll see how much he campaigns, all that. But I don't mind if he goes from 4 events a day to 2. I mean, he shouldn't. Frankly, that was way too much in the first place. And thank you, Kush Renata, $10 in the super chat. CNN was played the role of casino cooler towards Bernie and Tulsi. Cutting off Tulsi before she could hit Warren and spacing out Bernie's questions is obvious bias. It's actually worse than bias. It's CNN was basically acting as, I don't know what you would call it, other than like PR people for all the establishment candidates. I mean, you could tell they're trying desperately to tee up an easy question for Beto O'Rourke, but the problem is Beto O'Rourke puts you to sleep. There's no there there. They were trying to give more time to Mayor Pete. The problem is there's no there there. They're trying to give more time to Amy Klobuchar. The problem is there is there there. Establishment Joe Biden as a female version. That's what she is. They're trying to breathe life into Julian Castro, but if you look at the polls, Bernie Sanders gets less time than a lot of these establishment candidates, polling at 3 or 4%. And frankly, sorry to offend, I'm not part of the Yang gang, but he was getting equal to, if not more, time than Bernie was getting. I think Yang should get a good amount of time because Yang has shown he has a grassroots movement behind him, the Yang gang. And I respect that. He's not my candidate, but I respect his supporters and all that. But, I mean, the debates are rigged, and I think Bernie supporters in particular, but Tulsi supporters too, should be outside CNN peacefully. But you can't have a fair contest of ideas if the whole format itself is rigged. And you also can't convince me that Tom Perez and the DNC and CNN didn't widen the net to allow Tom Steyer in. And other establishment candidates that, frankly, Tulsi Gabbard is polling better in New Hampshire than a lot of these other candidates like Castro and Klobuchar. Why are they in the debate rather than on the chopping board like Tulsi Gabbard missed the last debate? Nobody could answer this. No one. There should not be 12 candidates at all in any debate. Frankly, there should not be 10. They should have done 2 debates, 6 each. Because it's intentionally meant for 2 things. Number 1, to make sure Joe Biden talks as little as possible, and I'm about to show you what I think was his biggest doozy of the night, and to make sure that Elizabeth Warren doesn't get attacked too much because there's too many candidates, and it's to protect the establishment's choice. And we're going to get to who needs to drop out, because there are some folks who need to drop out. Thank you, Lady Hawk, $4.99 in the super chat. Did you see also how CNN cut to Pete when Tulsi addressed Warren on foreign policies? policy, they sacrificed a pawn to save their queen. Pathetic. I completely agree. Tulsi was about to go, if you watch Game of Thrones, Arya Stark with her kill list politically on Elizabeth Warren, and they jumped in to protect her. I mean, this is obvious. It's like a boxing match where you have your, referee, not the referee, you have your manager who has the towel to throw it in, and CNN is basically throwing in their version of the towel, but really just deflecting off of that moment to protect the candidates that their business interests like. So I'm going to go through the list. First off, to me, the biggest story was actually not Bernie Sanders, as much as a great debate as he had. The biggest story to me is this. I think Joe Biden, I mean, you have enough examples now, you have enough, of course, CNN, oh, Joe Biden did a good job, but no one with two eyes thinks Joe Biden is ready for prime time. Nobody with two eyes thinks Joe Biden is a leading candidate anymore. He cannot construct full sentences together. You want to talk about who is more reliability health-wise? Joe Biden. I mean, I'll just play you one doozy right here. Would be good if you could hear the sound, huh? Would be good if you could hear the sound. Give me a second.
Forces from northern Syria abandoning America's longtime Kurdish allies. As a result, Turkey has now invaded Syria. ISIS detainees have escaped, and the Kurds have announced a new deal with the government in Damascus, a victory for Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad and Russia and Iran. Vice President Biden, we know you would not have withdrawn troops from northern Syria in this way, but that is already in process. So would you send American troops back into northern Syria to prevent an ISIS resurgence and protect our Kurdish allies?
I would not have withdrawn the troops, and I would not have drawn the additional 1,000 troops who are in Iraq, which are in retreat now, being fired on by Assad's people, and the President of the United States saying, if those ISIS folks escape from the prisons they're in, they'll only go to Europe and won't affect us. It has been the most shameful thing that any president has done in modern history, excuse me, in terms of foreign policy. And the fact of the matter is, I've never seen a time, and I've spent thousands of hours in the Situation Room. I've spent many hours on the ground in those very places in Syria and in Iraq. And guess what? Our commanders across the board, former and present, are ashamed of what's happening here. What I would do is
So, I don't want to expose you to any more of that, and apologies, I forgot to change the setting. Joe Biden, I don't mean this to be cruel, but Joe Biden can't complete full sentences without stuttering like this. You saw his lip like that, without coughing, without something. He's just not cognitively sharp, and you need to be cognitively sharp to defeat a growing, let's call Trump what he is. He's a fascist, okay? And now we have news that they're going to have the next G7 at his resort. Oh my God, could you imagine? Could you imagine if that was a progressive? Having hit the G20 at his resort? So Biden, I think, and it's already shown because Warren in a lot of the polls has moved past Biden, and Biden is now kind of closer to Bernie. I think Biden's going to keep falling because he cannot construct full sentences. He also confused, he said, we need to get out of Iraq. Afghanistan. I mean, this is a disaster. A disaster. Not to mention, no wonder if you have no plans that help working people, you're struggling financially. Joe Biden's bleeding cash. Spent nearly $1 million on private jets. And this is someone who's going to defeat Donald Trump? Private jet Joe? Joe Biden's campaign is bleeding cash. And a big reason why appears to be an antiquated, higher-end approach to electoral politics. Biden's team spent more than $923,000, almost $1 million, on private jets during the last 3 months. He also, the former vice president, spent more than $230,000 on fundraising consultants during Q3, nearly $500,000 on direct mail, and major chunks of change on high-end hotels in cities that serve as donor hubs but aren't centrally located in early voting states. During the third quarter period, the Biden campaign spent more than $20,000 at the Carlisle Hotel, very fancy here in New York, more than $14,000 at the Coronado Island in San Diego, more than $4,400 at the Hotel Jerome in Aspen, and more than $10,500 at the W in LA. Yeah, that's how you beat Donald Trump. Let's just flaunt that we are the bourgeoisie. Private jets, nice hotels, and almost $300,000 on fundraising consultants. You need consultants to tell you how to fundraise? Here's how you fundraise. Medicare for all, free public college, a strong Green New Deal, a significant wealth tax, doubling union membership. Bernie Sanders raised more money than any other presidential candidate, say it with me, in history. So, as I've been saying for months, and by the way, we will be at what are they calling it? Return of the Burn rally Saturday here in New York City. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. Joe Biden can't fundraise because Joe Biden has no ideas. He's got no ideas. None. And as a reminder, folks, just putting it in the GoFundMe here because Jen is asleep. We both woke up very early. We are currently, let's take a look, $550 away, $550 away from that $78,000. So keep pitching in if you can. $550 away from $78,000. Now, I think Joe Biden, as you clearly are seeing, this is now the fourth debate. He cannot construct full sentences fully. He is not sharp. He has no ideas. And his campaign is bleeding cash. He is running basically Hillary Clinton's campaign, which spent more time fundraising in key periods than actually doing rallies. And why doesn't he want to do rallies? Because he has no ideas. He's running to restore the soul of the nation. Well, maybe people don't want to restore things back to the way it was, which was still the most grotesque income inequality in the world. I think we rank second or third in the world in income inequality. Child poverty, out of control. Homelessness, out of control. Uninsured, out of control. Restoring back to the way things were is not a bumper sticker. So why I say Joe Biden is the biggest story is because I think as Biden shrinks, I think you're going to see a lot more of those votes go to Bernie Sanders than Elizabeth Warren. And here's why, if you remember this moment from the debate.
And the issue of gun sales in terms of assault weapons. And so the question is, who is best prepared? We all have good ideas. The question is, who's going to be able to get it done? How can you get it done? And I'm not suggesting they can't. but I'm suggesting that that's what we should look at. And part of that requires you not being vague. Tell people what it's going to cost, how you're going to do it, and why you're going to do it. That's the way to get it done. Presidents are supposed to be able to persuade.
Just to clarify, Vice President, who are you saying is being vague?
Well, the senator said she's being vague on the issue of, actually both of them being vague on the issue of Medicare for all. No, look, here's the deal. Come on. It costs $30 trillion. Guess what? That's over $3 trillion a year. It's more than the entire federal budget. Let me finish, okay?
You'll both get in.
If you eliminated the entire Pentagon, every single thing, plane, ship, troop, the buildings, everything, satellites, it would pay for a total of 4 months. 4 months. Where do you get the rest? Where does it come from?
Two things. Let me
Senator
respond
Sanders, respond.
in two ways. Joe, you talked about working with Republicans and getting things done. But you know what you also got done, and I say this as a good friend. You got the disastrous war in Iraq done. You got a bankruptcy bill, which is hurting middle-class families all over this country. You got trade agreements like NAFTA and PNTR with China done, which have cost us 4 million jobs. And let's get to Medicare for all. Let's be honest. We spend twice as much per person as do the people of any other major country on earth. And the answer is, if we have the guts, and I would like to see the Democratic Party have that guts, to stand up to the drug companies and the insurance companies and tell them that the function of health care is to guarantee care to all people, not to make $100 billion in profit. If we stood together, we could create the greatest health care system in the world.
Vice President Biden, you can respond, and then Senator Warren.
We can do that without Medicare for all.
Bernie! 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 Wait a minute. Does it work? Oh man, I thought I had the punching effect on. Alright, so this is what I've been calling on Bernie Sanders to do now for, frankly, 4 years, because he should have gone a lot harder on Hillary Clinton. But I digress. First of all, again, respectfully, Joe Biden can't even remember his attack lines. He's like, well, they're both being vague on, I don't mean anything negative to my older friends, people with memory losses. I have some memory issues. But this guy, imagine him on a stage with Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. Dangerous man. I mean, what you're seeing, honestly, with this Ukraine stuff, it's legit. I think Russiagate was a lot of malarkey. What Trump is doing with Ukraine and this Rudy Giuliani clown show, it's legitimate corruption, and it needs to be investigated. But he's still a very, very good salesman, Donald Trump is. He's still a dangerous, dangerous communicator. He's going to get out every one of this, every one of his base. You think that guy, Joe Biden, is going to make up the difference? Hillary Clinton had 5% less African Americans come out for her in 2016 than Obama had in 2012. Hillary Clinton had 5% less Latinos come out for her in 2016 than Obama had in 2012. Hillary Clinton had 6% less age 18 to 29, Bernie's core, come out for her as opposed to Barack Obama in 2012. You think this guy is going to do that? A lot of cocktail crowd, establishment, we got to beat Trump people that live in New York, Washington, who are very out of touch and have no idea how much suffering there is out in the middle of the country. They just think, well, Trump's so dangerous, everybody will come out no matter who the Democrat is. That's not how people vote. You might think, if you live in New York or D.C. or a more comfortable urban area, you might think, well, Donald Trump is a scare to the world. He is a unprecedented threat, and all those people will come out, even if it's Joe Biden. I got news for you, because I've met a lot of these people that are those voters, either who went for Trump or are not like rah-rah, vote blue no matter who. They're not coming out for Joe Biden. Frankly, I think you might have some people that decide to vote for Trump instead of Joe Biden, just to spite the Democrats. So I think you're going to start to see Joe Biden slide some more in the polls. It will help Bernie. I think it will also, some of that will go to Warren. but I think a lot of it's going to go to Bernie, because this is a true reflection of how misinformed people are. Astoundingly, and thank you for the $10 in the GoFundMe, Edwin. We are now just $540 away from hitting that $78,000. Keep it coming. A lot of Joe Biden supporters are those blue-collar workers making $50,000 or less, making only with high school degrees. That's Bernie Sanders' base. So Joe Biden, to me, his weakness is the biggest story that could help Bernie Sanders. The other thing that stood out to me, honestly, I think when Elizabeth Warren gets attacked, which hasn't happened because the media has just given her unending, excuse my French, blowjobs. I know that's not like physically possible, but you get what I mean. Elizabeth Warren has gotten the 2007-2008 then candidate Obama treatment. She's been elevated as the new Jesus in politics. She has a plan, even though a lot of those plans are borrowed from Bernie Sanders. And again, I don't think she's Hillary Clinton. I don't think she's as bad as Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, these others. But she's not Bernie Sanders, and we shouldn't pretend she is. So when Elizabeth Warren gets challenged, which has been rare, she doesn't respond that well. Because the thing is, underneath all this I have a plan stuff is somebody very, very flexible. Is very, what's the word, malleable in terms of making deals and playing the game. Get along to go along to get along? Is that what they call it? When Elizabeth Warren was challenged on Medicare for All, her consultants in her head and in her ear are telling her, do not utter the phrase, taxes will go up on the middle class. They will use it against you in the general election. That's why she's ducking and diving all over the place to not just simply say, yes, taxes will go up, just like Bernie Sanders has said. Taxes will go up X amount, but your cost savings will be so much that you're actually getting a tax cut overall. That's all she needs to say. But because Elizabeth Warren does not have the courage of her convictions, yes, I said it, because she is a political operator first, rather than having the courage of her convictions to actually state what she means and what will happen, because she's listening to consultants, because, frankly, some of the people from Hillary Clinton's campaign are now working on her campaign. I reported before I went out in the field for the last week, she's just hired a Hillary Clinton staffer to run her campaign in Michigan. She's being told by the usual suspects, don't give the Republicans an attack ad to say you're going to raise taxes on the middle class. The problem is people can see if you are squirming. People can see. Why is it you have a plan for everything, but you won't give specifics on this? And now we're hearing that her team, she says, I'm with Bernie on Medicare for All, but her team is looking for other options to fund it. Well, I don't know what other options there are. You can't fund a government health care plan without the citizens paying more into it. I mean, that's how they do it in every other country. You pay more as a citizen, but you get a lot more because you don't have all of the costs we have. I'll give you an example. And I think my girlfriend is watching, so she's very excited about this. I snore like a fucking elephant. That's because I've had sleep apnea for many, many years. And I tried that god-awful machine, the CPAP machine, if any of you wear it, and it didn't help me. It didn't help me for years. And it's not exactly a turn-on, if I'm keeping it real, back in my single days. So, Chris Garrett, $5 in the super chat. Welcome back, Jen and Jordan. Can't wait for the big story reveal. Will members get an advanced preview? It depends if the outlet we're trying to publish it with allows that, but I think we'll be able to give the members something earlier than the general public. Yes, that's my goal. Thank you for your support as we were out in the field for a week. Jen and I were working like probably 16, 17 hours days. I wish you could have seen it, but it was a lot of work. But bottom line, so I snore a lot, and my girlfriend can't sleep in the same bed with me and sleep through the night. So I went to a sleep doctor, right? $60 copay just to see the sleep doctor. And that's, by the way, paying $600 a month to have health care right now. I'm paying $600 a month. If Mama Charity is watching, she's helping me greatly pay for that because I can't afford it. I'm very lucky. A lot of people don't have that. because I'm not working for anyone. I'm paying out of my ass for health insurance per month. Then I have a $60 copay. So I've had to go to this doctor twice now for two appointments. The other one was earlier today. $120 just to go to this doctor. That now I find out I have moderate sleep apnea. So they're going to make me a mouth guard to, move your jaw forward and open up your airway. TMI, I know, but I'm getting to a point. So now they tell me, oh, we got to get insurance pre-authorization, blah, 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 blah. There is no way in hell my insurance company is going to pay even close to the full amount for this, because even paying $600 a month, plus the co-pays I got to pay, plus the deductibles, they cover, if I'm lucky, 60 to 70% of things. Who can afford to live this way? And I don't have children. What working person can afford to have to pay thousands of dollars just for the luxury of then getting screwed by the insurance companies? Oh, my girlfriend is going to be thrilled because this sleep test, I snored the whole night. Whole night. So she will be thrilled. And hopefully it helps with the apnea, because apnea could lead to heart things and other things. So I should have that in a few weeks. But the point is, I can't afford it. Not to mention, I've had to get 2 root canals and 3 or 4 cavities filled in the last 2 years. At least I've spent $7,000 to $10,000 out of my minuscule savings. So my point is, I would gladly pay the extra, whatever it's going to be, different amounts if you're a family versus an individual. Let's say I have to pay $3,000 more in taxes a year. I will save so much money on all these expenses I'm having to pay. And I don't even go to the doctor as much as some of you. Do you fart in bed? Possible. It's possible, somebody asked. Jordan, you're an effing thick daddy? Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Mike T, $4.99. Seeing corporate media visibly gagging while reporting on the 3/4 squad endorsements for Bernie is amazing. If Warren got them, it would be covered 24/7. Of course. And by the way, so Jordan doesn't brush his teeth either? Yes, I brush my teeth. What are you talking about? Stop the rumors. I'm going to get to who needs to drop out, but I just want to real quickly. Listen, I've been critical of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on some things. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez reportedly called Bernie Sanders when he was in the hospital, when everybody was doom and gloom, when we got CNN, MSNBC, when's Bernie going to drop out? All these things. Said, I'm going to endorse you. That is political courage. That is political authenticity. And frankly, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez showed, and is going to show, because she's going to endorse him on Saturday, what Elizabeth Warren failed to show in 2016. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if she was thinking politics, would not endorse Bernie Sanders right now, would wait it out because Bernie's lower in the polls than Warren. Bernie just had a health scare, and she'd wait it out and drag it out and drag it out. But she's saying, you know what? And I believe this is what she's going to say on Saturday. Not that I have a sneak peek. This man, I would not be standing here if not for this man creating a movement for 20 years, but more imminently the last 4 years. He inspired me to run because she volunteered on his campaign. This man has fought for the working class. She's not making a decision based on which horse she thinks is going to win. She's making a decision based on who she thinks means it, who she thinks has shown they're going to get it done. It's very easy to write your plans. It's very easy to be a wonk and be so uber educated, a Harvard professor, this and that. That's great. Obviously, we want a smart person to be president. We got a doofus in there now. But what good is the plans if we don't know if you're going to have the courage of your convictions to execute it? She says she's for Medicare for all. I'm not seeing her explain it the way Bernie explains it, and I'm not seeing her voicing that, no, there is no middle ground, Medicare for all. And by the way, I'm doing an interview this afternoon with Michael Leidy, who is an expert at the Sanders Institute on Medicare for All. So I'm going to do that interview after this, hopefully air it at 5 o'clock if I have the energy. I've been up since 4 a.m. So I'm hoping to go live at my normal time at 5 o'clock Eastern. Jordan, you going to be at Bernie's rally Saturday? Absolutely, I'm going to be there. Yes, we will be there. And we just finally, I didn't tell you because I didn't want you guys to freak out, So you know how I told you we ordered a new live view for it's $13,000. We got it for $9,000. You know how I told you that was going to help us with going live more flawlessly, places and this and that? This is probably TMI. So yeah, they sent it to the wrong apartment building. So I had to go on a chase around Manhattan to find this live view. So that was a week to 2 week process. Finally, it got delivered thanks to LiveView. Great. They were very helpful in getting that LiveView delivered. And we're going to have a much stronger machine. Joseph's coming over actually in a little bit to figure out how to use it. And then we're going to have that. And we could only get that thanks to membership and the GoFundMe. We don't have any investors or anything. So your support helped us to get this critical equipment. So thank you. So, yes, Jordan literally tells you the things. I'm just telling you, it got lost. Not because of me. Frankly, they wrote down the wrong address. It wasn't me. But anyway, I digress. So, Warren, frankly, I think how bad Biden is doing, both optically and on cash, is going to be a gain to Bernie. I think, ultimately, we're going to be looking at Bernie Sanders versus Elizabeth Warren probably by December. I think it's really going to come down to Bernie Sanders versus Elizabeth Warren. I think that's a contest Bernie Sanders could win, and that brings me to who needs to drop out of this race. I got a few. Let's see who you think first before I give you mine. Let me know in the super chat who needs to drop out. There's so many. I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to be rude to these establishment phonies. But it's time to clear that stage of the riffraff, in my view. So, give me some. Who's your first? Who needs to get out? Let me know in the super chat. In Australia, Saturday, 1 o'clock is the rally, yes. We are almost at 1,000 viewers, so if you have not pressed that like button, press that thumbs up button. It's right under the live stream. The more people that press the like button, the more people that will see the live stream. Corey, Harris, Steyer. I agree. All right, so here's my first that needs to drop out. And as a reminder, folks, we got 1,000 people watching. If you got a couple bucks, we are close to $78,000 and then even closer to the ultimate goal, $85,000. Cannot wait, literally cannot wait to tell you about this story Jen and I were just reporting on for a week in the field. It's going to blow your mind. It's blowing my mind a little bit. All right, to me, Rob R. Did I miss your super chat? Rob R. I'm sorry if I missed your super chat. Hold on. Rob R. Jordan, the only thing Warren borrowed was the name of Bernie's policy. Her policies are means testing, and Green New Deal is market-based solution. That's neoliberalism. Couldn't agree more. I've actually been saying, listen, the Green New Deal is better than the crap out there now, but I think we just need straight government investment. I'm not trusting the private sector to save us here. So thank you for the super chat. First of all, this goes without saying, goodbye, Tom Steyer. Like, there's no need, there's literally not a reason on earth for this man to be on a debate stage. It's laughable when he talks about corporations have bought the government. You've been buying these politicians for years as well. Granted, he's strong on climate change and this and that, but he's railing against the system that he uses for his benefit. So, you would make a very good, secretary or, czar of something. But you don't have any business on this debate stage. You bought your way onto the debate stage by pumping the airways with endless ads. You did your little impeachment, I started the impeachment move in 2 years. Here's a cookie. Goodbye. We don't want you. There's no need for you. Get out now, and maybe you could become ambassador to something. Seriously, there's no need. No need at all for Tom Steyer. James Carvalho. Cyberclue, $5 in the super chat. AOC and the squad smacks down the Working Families Party endorsement of Warren, which was superdelegates fixed anyway. I agree, and I already reported, frankly, there was a lot of fishiness with that Working Families Party endorsement, including the fact they didn't disclose that Elizabeth Warren's daughter had ties to Working Families Party. But anyway. James Carvalho, $5 in the super chat. Here's something for live view. Rock on, status quo. Everybody but Bernie needs to get the F out of here. Omar P, $5 in the super chat. The beer is on me for you and Joseph after the rally. Hashtag neoliberal must die. Thank you. So, over 1,000 viewers. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Smash that like button, thumbs up button right under the video. The more people that press the like button, the more people that will see the live stream. Number one, Beto O'Rourke needs to get the hell out of here. I'm sorry. Beto O'Rourke against Lucifer Ted Cruz is one thing. Beto O'Rourke, there's no there. I don't know what his signature policy is. Frankly, I don't know. I mean, maybe against Ted Cruz, he looked like Mick Jagger. But on stage, in a presidential, he's got about as much charisma as my left thumb. Beto O'Rourke, there's been enough time. He's not rising in the polls. He doesn't have any signature, anything to his campaign. It's just a lot of hoity-toity, let's heal the world kind of nonsense. We need Beto O'Rourke to step aside. If you want to go run for something in Texas, God bless you. But you're taking up space. You're taking up space. So Beto O'Rourke, gone. Cory Booker, gone. Again, no signature policy. A lot of this nonsense neoliberal talk. He like Amy Klobuchar on stage. We're making the same mistake of going after each other instead of Trump. No, this is a primary. This is the time you go after each other. They're not attacking your dog. They're attacking you and your policies. You don't have any signature policies that I could see. You're running on love. Go be president of Rosario Dawson because that's his girlfriend. I'm cool with that. But there's no reason for Cory Booker to be in this race anymore. He doesn't have a chance to win, and he's just taking up space. Frankly, he's taking up space. And if Cory Booker, like Kamala Harris, is coming in 4th or 5th in his own state of New Jersey, what does that tell you? If you get out now, Cory, then you could be strongly considered to be Elizabeth Warren's vice president or Biden's vice president or whatever. But you're just taking up space, and you're not. If you're saying the main thing is to beat Trump, then all these people taking up space and really taking away from the actual core debate from the leading candidates, drop out. Get out. Julian Castro, A-B. If this is a multiple choice test, A and B. Julian Castro, there is no there. I like that he brought up the children, being in cages during the debate. Obviously, he's got appeal to certain demographics, but he's another neoliberal guy. As HUD secretary, he sold off foreclosed homes to Wall Street. What is Julian Castro's calling card to be in this debate? What is Julian Castro's anything to be considered for president over somebody like Bernie or Biden or Warren? Nothing. There's nothing there. And I'm not saying that people necessarily, just because you're polling lowly, Andrew Yang is polling lowly, but he has a huge grassroots movement. And a lot of people don't know about Andrew Yang. I don't support Andrew Yang, but he has a lot more of a grassroots movement than Amy Klobuchar does, or Julian Castro, or Cory Booker. So what are we doing here? So Castro, gone. This might be a controversial one to some easily triggered folk. I'm sorry. Kamala Harris, drop out. She's getting worse every single debate. And there's no there. There's no if your signature policy is like a $6,000 a year tax credit, yes, on paper that sounds good. So basically your signature policy is Andrew Yang in half. Andrew Yang's signature policy is $12,000 a year UBI. Kamala Harris has a $6,000 earned income tax credit. That $6,000 is helpful. It doesn't structurally change anything. It doesn't get the toxicity of money out of politics. It doesn't do a damn thing about regulation. It doesn't do a damn thing about the demolition of unions. It doesn't do a damn thing about big tech, big media. None of it, because she's bought off. Kamala Harris's campaign is run by Hillary Clinton's old campaign people. So people see that there's no there. And if your biggest case to be made against, I think she's argued with Elizabeth Warren about you should demand Trump get off Twitter, this is what you're doing? So I'm sorry. I think she should drop out because she would be one of the leading contenders for vice president for Biden, maybe Warren, definitely another establishment candidate. But you know, if you believe, Kamala Harris speaking, that your best strategy now is to go all in on Iowa, what's the best thing that's going to happen? You're going to come in second or third, but you've gone all in Iowa, so you're not going to do well in New Hampshire. You're not going to do well in South Carolina. So I don't see a path for her other than she's trying to raise her political profile, but I don't really know how you're going to raise your political profile by just basically treading water and clogging up space. She had a moment in that first debate, and she didn't capitalize on it after. That's on her. And maybe if she stood by her convictions, she was for Medicare for all for 5 seconds, and then she moved away from it because Hillary Clinton's donors and Hillary Clinton's campaign staff told her, cut it out. You know, Wall Street, I told them to cut it out. They told Kamala Harris, cut it out with that progressive nonsense. So Kamala Harris, gone. Sorry. Amy Klobuchar, I know the media thought she did so swell because they propped her up and gave her a lot of time. I don't know. There's no there. She keeps pretending, she's trying to sound like a populist by saying, you're not the only ones with plans. Right, but your plans are just more crumbs for the worker bees. She said, I covered it 2 weeks ago. She says, oh no, canceling student debt is bad for the economy. Serious economists say this would be the biggest, what do they call that? This would be the biggest stimulus to the economy, canceling student debt. What she's talking about is it would be a drag on the capitalists who want to collect on that money. Oh, everybody wants something for free. What are you, Mitt Romney? You're a Democrat? This is what she said. Everybody wants something for free. So, gone. Gone. So I just named 5. Frankly, some people aren't going to like this. I have to be consistent. I think that Tulsi Gabbard has really been screwed. Clearly, she's been screwed by the DNC. They fudged around with the polling to not let her be in this second debate. In the third debate. And in the fourth debate, they clearly gave her as limited time as possible and cut her off before she could have a really strong moment against Warren. Tulsi Gabbard does have a big grassroots movement behind her, bigger than the names I just told you to drop out. So I'm not saying Tulsi Gabbard needs to drop out because I do think she has a grassroots movement behind her, but I also think that Tulsi Gabbard she's running, I believe, not thinking she's going to win, but to make the case to end these wars and regime change. But you also have to look at the political reality, and that 1 to 2 to 3% that she's getting in a lot of polls, some polls even more than that, that support, if she knows there's no pathway, that could be pivotal towards the person you're most closely aligned with, Bernie Sanders. So I'm not trying to say, oh, you, the woman, drop out. It's not about her being a woman or a man or whatever. The media has successfully screwed you. I don't see a scenario, to be honest with you, that she's going to win. And right now, even that 1 to 2% can make a difference because I think her support would go to Bernie Sanders. So I think she probably should stay in it for another debate if they allow her to be in it. But I do think she needs to start thinking about, do you want to take this all the way to Iowa when you're negating from the progressive, the real progressive, not that she's not a progressive, but the person you're closest to in Bernie Sanders. So that's my opinion about Tulsi. I'm kind of like in the middle. I don't think she should drop out, but I think she also shouldn't ride this to Iowa because, frankly, you're running against a corrupt party that's, if you think they're trying to knock out Bernie over Medicare for all, they're going to go even harder at someone talking about ending these wars. So I just gave you 5 that need to drop out. I don't think Biden needs to drop out. Obviously, he's second or third in most of the polls. He's the former vice president. I think it's better for Bernie the longer Biden stays in because I think he's just going to keep on fading, and eventually he's going to combust because he can't construct full sentences without stuttering or forgetting what he wants to talk about or the point. It's only good if Biden stays in a little longer. Obviously, Warren's not going to drop out. Bernie's not going to drop out. But everyone else I just listed, Mayor Pete, I forgot him. Mayor Pete is going to stay in because Mayor Pete's strategy now is to basically be Biden younger and sounding more coherent, and thinking that when Biden eventually stumbles and plummets, Pete will pick up that Biden mantle. So I don't necessarily, I mean, I think he's a hack, but it's not a stupid strategy to basically be the younger Biden waiting in the wings. But I actually think when Biden eventually stumbles, I think a lot more of those supporters are going to go to Bernie Sanders, not Pete Buttigieg. And I think Pete Buttigieg, like I said with Beto O'Rourke, there is no there there. There's no there. And it was just exposed. Somebody found a tweet of his. He was saying he was for Medicare for all a year ago. He's just another blow with the wind political hack. No more of this. No, I didn't forget about Andrew. I don't think Andrew Yang should drop out. Unlike the others, he is a real grassroots movement. So I don't support Andrew Yang. I've already covered why I don't. But at least, I mean, he's polling better than Beto. He's polling better than Klobuchar. He's polling better than Harris in most polls. And he's got a huge I think he just raised $10 million in the last 3 months. So I don't think Andrew Yang should drop out. I mean, I think Andrew Yang kind of knows he's not going to win the nomination, but he's bringing up some important issues. I don't agree with his remedies, but I don't think Andrew Yang needs to drop out. I would love to see a debate stage with Bernie, Biden, Warren, Yang, Tulsi. You know, you want to throw in Pete. But I think the rest need to drop out. Cory Booker, no path. No there. Amy Klobuchar, no path. No there. Julian Castro, no there. No path. So, either Yang or Nina Turner as VP. I disagree. I don't want Andrew Yang as VP. I am Nina Turner for Vice President, number 1. Tulsi Gabbard, number 2. Number 3, maybe Ro Khanna. So, Meg, you can't thank TYT for pumping up Warren. I think TYT's been pumping up Warren. The very little I see of them, I think they have been pumping up Warren, to be honest with you. So, that's the deal, folks. That's the deal. It's been a pleasure to be live with you again. Sorry we were off the air for a week. There was no way of going live. A, from where we were. We didn't want to reveal where we were. And B, we were literally from like 9 a.m. in the morning till like 10 at night, driving and meeting with different sources and this and that. So doing some old-fashioned investigative reporting that, frankly, no one else is doing. And I'm just super excited. Can't wait to tell you about this story. I really can. So keep it coming. Let's see where we're at now. I really, really appreciate anybody pitching in. We want to get to that $78,000 over the next day or two. So that's $540 to go. Definitely for the over 1,000 people watching right now, how we fund actual investigative reporting. And I know you don't see the story yet. Trust me, when you see what we're about to break, it's huge. Massively huge. That's all I could say. Statuscoup.com/join, as low as $5 to $10 a month. Or you could give your money to the same old suspects who cover Trump 24/7. If you want to do that, great. But if you want to fund real in-the-field investigative reporting on forgotten communities, on screwed communities, statuscoup.com/join. Our goal is 1,000 by the end of this year, so we got some work to do. I woke up at 4 in the morning. I'm pretty sure I'll be back with you at 5 o'clock Eastern for my normal time slot. No guarantees, but check to make sure we're not back at 5 o'clock Eastern. We will be at the Bernie Sanders rally on Saturday, so definitely tune in for that coverage. And we will be back either at 5 o'clock. Probably I will be back at 5 o'clock Eastern because I want to do double duty today. I'll have to see what more I want to cover. And I have an interview coming up. with an expert on Medicare for All. So excited to air that for you. Remember, Most people are not lacking compassion in this country. Most people have no idea what is going on. Peace out.